All right, we're back at Capital Casino. This is vlog 128. Who would have thunk? Anyway, we're back in the 1-3 game, buying for $500. Play for about 15 minutes until we pick up 2 9s on the button. There is one player who limps in front of me. I make it 20. Only the small blind decides to defend. So we're going to go heads up to a flop. Comes Jack 7-5 Rainbow. A little concerned that he might have a jack here. I figure he's playing some middling cards. I decided to c-bet for $20 just to see what he would do. If he doesn't raise, I feel comfortable I have the best hand. He puts in the quick call and we see a turn card of a 4 diamonds. I'm pretty sure my 9s are best at this point, but that 4 diamonds puts up a lot of potential draws, flush draws, straight draws. So I decided just to put him to the test. He has about $100 left in his stack, so I bet $100. And he says, oh, that's a good bet. That's a real good bet. He goes, I'm drawing. And so I'm thinking that he has basically a hand like 7-6, maybe diamonds, pair of 7s with diamonds. Anyway, after some thought, he decides to just go with it. He says, I'm either going to go home or I'm going to double up. So he puts the money in and we get to see a run out. So probably going to have to dodge a lot of small cards and a diamond. So anything 9 or above that's not a diamond, I'll be happy with. River's a 3 of hearts, and he says that's one of mine. And he rolls over 6-5 offsuit. So he flopped a pair, turned an open ender. Oh, it's going to be hard to get him out of that pot. Next interesting spot happens about 20 minutes later. I got ace-king suited on the cutoff. Again, there are some limpers. I make it 20. And we end up getting 2 callers. So there's $63 in the pot, and we see a flop of 7-5-3 with 2 diamonds. Not the greatest flop in the world, but it really shouldn't hit my opponent's range too hard, them calling a $20 raise. So I think I might be best here. So I decided to bet for 30. Well, it looks like neither one of my opponents believe me because they both end up putting in the call for the 30. So it looks like we're going to have to improve. I'm going to probably wave the white flag unless I get some help. The 3 of hearts is actually a good card. It really doesn't complete anything. Both my opponents checked me. I figure it would be a good time to represent an overpair. Someone had a smaller pair like 5s or 7s. They probably really wouldn't like this because now they can't make hit their kicker and make a disguised 2 pair. So I think this is going to get through if they have a pair. And if they have a draw, maybe I'm pricing them out also. If I get called, I'm going to shut it down, and that's that. But my opponents fold out, and we get one through. All right, there's a $6 straddle. One player limps in. I decide to raise to 30 with my king-queen offsuit. I get a call from a player behind me who's playing I would say a tight range. And then one other player calls. So we're going to go 3 ways to this flop with 106 in. And I don't really care for my hand too much with the tight player calling behind me. And the flop comes out 10-7-5 rainbow. I check it over. I'm planning to give up here, but it ends up getting checked around. So I get second life, and a turn card comes, and it is a 3 of diamonds. That really shouldn't hit anyone, so I decided to take a pretty good sized stab at this, and I bet out $75. The player behind me puts in the quick call, and I'm thinking to myself, the type of hands he would do this with is a flush draw. So I'm thinking he has either ace, king of diamonds, ace, jack of diamonds, king, jack of diamonds, something like that. So any non-diamond comes, I'm going to bomb it. If a diamond comes, I'm just going to shut it down. River card comes as a 4 diamonds. Well, I'm shutting it down. My opponent jams all in. I go, man, it was perfect setup. I just had to dodge a diamond at the end. So I throw it away. And he ends up flashing that he did have the nut flush. I then went on a long stretch of having playable hands that just didn't hit anything. Here we got 8-9 suited. Raise, missed the flop. Again, we got 10-8 suited. Again, there's a raise. Got a couple players. Miss everything. Oh, look at here. I got king queen again. Same story. Raise, miss everything. Ended up adding $500 to my stack, so I have a little more ammunition going into the next hand. I'm under the gun with 2 10s, put in a raise to 15. Of course, end up getting a few callers, so there's going to be 4 of us that see this flop. Well, the flop comes out pretty good. It comes out 8 high. There are 2 clubs, and there is a possible straight. And now my opponent decides to lead right into me. Of course, he does it for a small sizing. So I'm thinking that he's not that strong when he bets $17. But I can't just call and let these guys take off a card and maybe catch a jack or a queen on the turn. So I put in a small raise, almost a min raise. I make it 40. The other players fold out, and now my opponent puts in the call. Now when he does, I think he has some sort of pair, maybe a pair and a flush draw, pair and a straight draw. I think he has medium-sized cards, and I'm just looking for maybe a blank to come on the turn, and then I can go ahead and fire away. Turn card is not really a blank. It's a 9 of spades. It connects a lot with the board. He checks it over to me, and I decide to check it back. And then the river card comes as a 9 of clubs. So now the flush draw gets there also. There's not too many hands that he's going to call off with. And when he checks it over to me, I feel a little relieved that we go to showdown. And he says those wonderful words, I missed. We win a small pot, and then we go card dead again. 9s, raise, see a flop, we miss. Look down, ace 10 suited, open for a raise. Couple callers. Flop comes king high, none of our suit. We get fired into, we miss. King jack, call a raise. Probably shouldn't. See a flop, miss everything when it comes ace high. 9-10 suited, pretty good suited connectors, whiff on the flop. So I'm getting a little frustrated. We've been playing for about 3.5 hours, and we're down $330. We have one player who limps from the cutoff. I raised to 20 with ace-5 suited. And to my surprise, I get a bunch of callers. So we're going to go 4 ways to this flop with $80 in it. And the flop comes out king, queen, 5, rainbow. We don't have any backdoor flush draw. All the players checked to me, and I decided, well, I'll give this one good stab. Maybe I can get someone to fold a queen. So I make it 50. The player in the small blind has about $1,000 in his stack, and he doesn't think too long before putting in the 50. So I'm pretty concerned that I'm in trouble. Turn card comes as a king of clubs, makes it less likely that he has a king, but more likely that he has a queen or a draw. So I'm just going to check this thing back, and hopefully he misses his draw if he has one, and if he has a queen, then I'm in trouble. River card comes as a pretty good one. It's a 5. So now I beat all those queens, but he decides to bet out, and I thought he was going to bet more, but then he made it $50. I was kind of confused by this. I don't know whether he's just going for value with a king, hoping to get a crying call from me with some sort of pocket pair or a queen. Anyway, I can't fold the full house, especially not for $50. So I make the call, and he giggles and says, you got me, and he shows ace jack of diamonds. So we take one down with the inferior hand. All right, I'm on the button with 10-9 suited. The player opens for a raise. I decided to put in the call. It's been a long day, and I haven't had too many hands that actually hit the flop. So when the flop comes out 10-5 deuce, I get all excited. So I got top pair with a mediocre kicker. It gets checked to the player who was the aggressor from the hijack, and he bets out. I'm going to put in the call for the $40, and so does the player in the small blind. So quite interesting. Turn card comes is a 8 of hearts. It's quickly checked to the player, and I just don't think he has much. So I'm a little concerned about the player behind me having some sort of draw, either a flush draw or some sort of combo draw. So I decided to raise to 170. I kind of want to price him out. I think after looking at this that I need to go a little bit bigger, maybe closer to 200 to price him out. Anyway, he thinks for a little bit before releasing his hand, which is good because I was quite concerned about him. The other player goes in the tank for a very long time, saying that he has a 10 with a good kicker, and he finally ends up mucking it. But I don't think he actually had a 10. After a long day of playing poker, and I was still a little bit stuck, but I mean, that's not a big deal. I don't play for the plus or the minus. I just play as well as I can for as long as I can, and then I take a break. So sometimes I know I could stay and fight for another $70 to get back to even, but is it really worth it? I mean, the game's going to be there tomorrow. So I headed on home with a little loss. Oh well, there's always another day. Thanks for watching, guys. Really do appreciate your support, and until next time, good luck at the tables.